Hey Stampers, this is Brenda Keenan with Keenan Creations, and today I'm going to show you how to create the projects in the Timeless Tidings project kit from Stampin' Up. So this kit is available in the holiday catalog. The holiday catalog is effective September 1st. You'll be able to view it online at that time. I'm only able to show you the cover. The Timeless Tidings project kit includes all the supplies that you need to create 20 cards except for the stamp set and ink pad, which you'll need to purchase separately. There's 4 different designs and you'll be able to make 5 of each, and you have 20 of the foil edged envelopes. Now these envelopes are slightly larger than our standard envelopes. So this is the envelope that comes in the kit. One has a red stripe design on the inside, and the other design has green. So these envelopes, you can see, are just slightly larger than the standard A2 envelope that we use. So I took this to the post office. They advised because it is a 1/4 inch larger, it's going to need the 21-cent additional postage stamp. I've already opened my kit and excitedly kind of torn everything apart, so I can't show you exactly how the kit comes, but you get a sheet of these foil elements, and these are peel and stick, so it makes it really easy to apply to your card. The cutout pieces for your greeting, you just simply pop them apart and stamp your greeting. Most of them, I think all of them actually, have a little gold element here. And then some of the cards have a line here that allows you to easily line up that foil edge. So let's go ahead and assemble some of these, and I'll show you how quick and easy that is. The card bases that have the line here indicate that you're going to use a foil element. So you'll notice this card has a line and this card base doesn't. The design does go all the way on the back. This is the one that goes with this image. This one here goes with that image. So make sure that you don't put this on here, because then when you're left with this piece, you're not going to be able to cover up that white line. So just remember, if you have a white line on the card, it's to help you line up one of these foil edges. So this one is super easy. You simply pull this up. The straight edge of this design lines right up to this white line here. And I actually go just below the white line so I can get this as straight as possible. Now you'll also need to provide your own dimensionals. I like to pop up designs on my card. The straight edge here lines up against this foil element, and I'm trying to be careful to again have this straight. I'm showing a little bit more foil on this card than the first one. Now the greeting I've already stamped, but I'm going to also pop that up. Now this is going to overlap a little bit like this. So I'm going to place regular layer of dimensionals here, but I'm going to double up my dimensionals here to keep it even because this is already popped up. You know what, I'm going to add one more in the middle just for good measure. So now when I turn this over, this is going to be nice and even. I do like to use the pokey tool for the rhinestones, and again we have yellow and green, and this one you can mix them up, but I'm just doing them as the directions show. I'm going to use the green right here. And these are really randomly placed, but again I'm following the picture and the directions just for approximate placement. It doesn't have to be exact. And there's your first card. So you can see how quick and easy that is. This one's even simpler. Now there's two different size circles when you're layering these cards. The larger circle is for this element here. The smaller circle is for the trees that go straight across. So make sure that you use the right size circle. So again, this pulls up. This has a little piece left right here. Do you see that right there? So I'm just going to use my finger. Well, I thought I was, so let's poke these out here. Sorry, these two guys are being a little stubborn, so let me see if I can get those off. And this one just kind of flip around there. There we go. So you can see that this lines up to here. I like to use a bone folder to curl the edges, so I'm just going to turn this over and just lightly curl these. They will flatten out a little bit in mailing, but they will not go completely flat, so it'll just add some extra dimension to your card. Now this I am going to lay down flat and add my adhesive to the center. I'm looking at that gold foil in the middle just to make sure that's not crooked. I'm using black memento ink for the greetings. You could use probably Mossy Meadow or Cherry Cobbler if you wanted to add a little more color. The nice thing about stamping on circles is it doesn't matter if you're crooked, right? You just turn the circle after you stamp it. So we're just going to go right in the center. Give that a nice pressing. Dimensionals to the back. And this goes right in the center. Now this one uses the yellow rhinestones. And I think they give you a few more than you need. So you can place them a little differently than the sample if you like. These are very random in the placement. Again, I still follow the images and the directions just for a general guide, but you don't have to be exact. And there's your second card. Uses the larger poinsettia, a pretty narrow die cut piece for the greeting. This little chevron shaped gold element for the design here. And do you see how there's that line? So when you're putting your cards together, make sure that you look for that line if you have a gold foil piece to help with the placement. And again, this lifts straight up. And this straight edge here is what I'm lining up to the line on the card. Now it doesn't have to be exact, but it does help you with the placement. I'm a little bit lower than that line, so that's okay. This I'm going to adhere straight down. Adhesive around all the edges. You could pop this up if you wanted to. Use dimensionals. And this lines up straight to the top of the card. You could bring it down a little if you wanted to show some of the stripes at the top, but I'm going right at the top here. Now this greeting is the long, narrow one, and it makes it really easy to just stamp and add to your card. I love it. It's a nice add, probably 4 dimensionals to this because it's pretty long and skinny. It has the greeting right along the bottom, but you really could place it at the top if you wanted to. That is up to you. I think I am going to do this one right along the top here. It's also using the yellow rhinestones. Again, random placement. And that's your third card. So you can see how quick and easy these go together, and they're very, very pretty. This is the design for the last card, and it uses a row of the trees. And again, you have this straight edge here to help line up this foil element. Now, do you see that little gold star in the corner? That's the one that I used for my tree topper. So when you lift these up, it leaves the gold star behind, and you can use that later. I wish they would have just done a whole line of stars here, and then we would have a ton to use. So this is going to go all the way across your card from edge to edge, and again I'm using the white line here for placement. You're not going to see that opening. It's going to be covered by this element here. We're going to add adhesive around all the edges. And making sure we cover up that gold star. You can have a little bit of that solid gold or a little bit more. I'm going to scoot it up just a teensy bit. Now this is the card that uses the smaller circle. So the greeting that we're going to use will fit right inside there. Dimensionals to the back. And this one has the greeting placement here along the bottom, but I'm going to move this one right to the top. On the card that I made, I used the yellow rhinestones, and it was supposed to be the green rhinestones. So on this card, which uses the yellow rhinestones, I'm going to switch and use the green. They're randomly placed. I really think you could use either color rhinestone on any of the cards. You could even mix them if you wanted to. And I'm going to add that gold star to the top of this tree. So I like to use the pokey tool because it's so tiny. Just to lift that up. And we're going to place that right there. Isn't that pretty? Be a good idea to add some sparkle since these are holiday cards. So this is the Wink of Stella. I think there's some in here. So I'm going to go on scratch paper first to make sure there's not a big blob of glitter coming out, and then I'll show you how easy it is to add a little bit of sparkle. So I would just hit the edges of these berries, and you just have a little extra sparkle on the berries. Same thing for this one here. You don't want to overdo it. So I'm just kind of randomly applying that. So it just gives it a little extra sparkle right there. Like the idea of adding sparkle, and I'm just kind of randomly adding it to the branches here. I'm not really hitting any certain part of this image. It's very, very random. And again for this tree here, and you can go outside the lines. It does not have to be perfect. It's just a nice way to give a little bit of sparkle to the trees. I don't know if that's picking up there. I'm going to add some here. And it's quickly and easily added to your card projects, and it also dries pretty fast, so it's not as messy as using glue and glitter. Okay, and then the last card is the poinsettia, and I would hit just the edges. Sorry, my cat is on the table and she is kind of freaking out because she sees a squirrel outside. Oh my God. Keep going. And there you go. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed these projects. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks and have a great day. So I went ahead and stamped the envelope and the inside, so I wanted to show you what these look like. So I just stamped this greeting in Cherry Cobbler, and I stamped the poinsettia in the black permanent ink, and I watercolored with Cherry Cobbler, and the same with the envelope. Now I'll tell you, the envelope has a little bit of a coating on it, so it doesn't watercolor as easily, but you can still add a decorative element to your envelope. This tree here I found was the easiest to stamp and watercolor, and I stamped this greeting in Mossy Meadow, and there's your inside. And this one is using this little sprig here. Again, this greeting is in Mossy Meadow. I added more of that wink of Stella around all the outline parts of this image. And then I stamped the inside greeting in Mossy Meadow and watercolored here. So I'll show you how I watercolor a couple of these images. On this card here, we're going to stamp the greeting first in Mossy Meadow. I'm using basic black ink. You could also use black StazOn, but you do want it to be a permanent ink. And we're going to twist, tap, tap, and add the tree at the bottom. I've squeezed the lid to get some ink on the lid for the Mossy Meadow. I am using an aqua painter, and I have a paper towel for blotting. So you always want to make sure that the tip of your aqua painter is clean and also not too wet. So I'm just going to pat it on here. And I'm going to use just quick little strokey marks. So just go like that. And don't worry about it being exact. And you can see how the green gets lighter as you go down. So just repeat that. And I start kind of more in the middle. And go back. I have some darker ones. So I'm trying to get some variation in the ink here. And then just repeat on the other side. So you'll notice I kind of skip around, so I have various shades of the green, but that was the easiest one to watercolor. So if you don't want it to be too complicated, I would go with the tree on the inside for all of these cards. You can do the same for the envelope. I'm going to stamp this greeting in Mossy Meadow. The poinsettia image is inked in a permanent black ink. I'm going to go right in the corner. I have a yellow marker. This one is crushed curry. I'm just going to kind of pat that in the center. Remember to clean your aqua painter when you're changing colors. And then just pick up a little bit of that ink. It'll get a little bit lighter, and I try not to make it too solid. So you'll notice I'm leaving some white areas also, so it kind of more resembles the sample on the front. If you want, you can go back if you feel like some areas need to be a little bit darker, but try not to overwork this. This is not watercolor paper, and you can just repeat that process for the envelope.